tonight on Game Plan.
This is a tough stretch. You know, as tough a stretch as we could possibly have, but it's good for us.
It's a dire December on Airline Drive as the Saints look to get back to winning against the same Panthers team that kick-started an 8-game run for the black and gold.
Newton well protected this time. Guns the ball over the middle. It's intercepted. Vaccaro.
See how Carolina has changed and what the Saints must change about Sheldon Rankins' role. Plus, how dependent is Dennis Allen's defense on Marshawn Lattimore? And who can you count on in the fantasy football playoffs? It's all on Game Plan, starting right now.
From Fox 8 Sports, this is Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
Things are about to get real. A December slate of games that could make or break the Saints' fine season. Welcome to Game Plan with Juan Kincaid. I'm Sean Fazan.
The NFC is tight, Sean. Know how tight?
How tight?
Tighter than a mouse's ear hole. Or how about tighter than a jar of peanut butter at a squirrel convention? It's tight. It's tight. Too tight, though, for a Saints slip-up right now.
I'll be honest, it's really just narrowing the focus to one game and still striving to find our best game. Obviously, coming off a loss on the road, you know, we want to rally. We want to get back on the winning track. And, you know, especially the scenario with the team that we're playing, you know, being a divisional opponent and same record as us, you know, both fighting for the same thing. This is a very important game.
The only change to the Saints injury report is that Marshawn Lattimore is not on it, but Ken Crawley is, as is Trey Hendrickson, Ryan Ramczyk, and Larry Warford. Those four guys were limited today. Lattimore was held out of practice today, as was fellow rookie Marcus Williams. Teron Armstead and Kobe Fleener also did not work out this afternoon. The Saints' first and one of their most impressive wins of the season came in Week 3, Sean, against Carolina on the road. When they meet in Week 13, the stakes be much higher.
It's the Saints and the Panthers round 2 with the NFC South on the line. And everyone expects this bout to be a lot tougher than the first.
When talking Carolina Panthers, it all starts with number 1, Cam Newton, who's coming off a tough game against New York, but seems to have the Panthers offense somewhat on track.
Playing with him for 4 years, I know playing at B of A when Cam was rolling and he was running and picking up first downs on scrambles and these quarterback powers, and they're pounding the rock. I mean, the whole team feeds off that energy. So Cam definitely leads the charge as far as the offensive momentum. When he's playing well, they all play well.
On defense, it's the same show we've become accustomed to. The Panthers ranked 2nd in the NFL in total defense and are in the top 10 in all major defensive categories. They're led by the man they call Captain America, linebacker Luke Kuechly, who leads the team in tackles with 80 and has 3 interceptions, also a team high. He also has 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown on the season. On the defensive line, Julius Peppers continues to drink from the fountain of youth, with his team leading 8.5 sacks at the age of 37.
They've always played with a ton of confidence, you know, and I think that comes from some real veteran guys on their defense. Obviously, the 2 linebackers, Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, and now this Shaq Thompson, who, you know, plays this really versatile role for them, is playing extremely well. Kurt Coleman in the secondary is a veteran guy who's been around a long time. Mike Adams. You know, they got the 2 young corners, but are both playing very, very well. And then their front 4, they rotate guys through, but those guys are playing extremely well too, both against the run and in their pass rush. So really there's no chink in the armor here.
The stakes for Sunday have been raised, and the Saints know they must perform better than they did a week ago. They have to take care of business in December, with 4 of their final 5 games within the NFC South.
Even if we were sitting here with a 4-game lead in the division after winning 8 in a row, you know, I think the mindset still needs to be, we haven't put together our best performance. We are still striving for that, and that needs to be reflected in the way that we practice and obviously what we carry over to the game. But the fact is we play in a really tough division, and there's a lot of teams that are sitting at the top or fighting for that spot, and we're all a game, you know, within a game of each other. So, listen, this is a tough stretch. You know, as tough a stretch as we could possibly have, but it's good for us.
The Panthers are never an easy opponent for the Saints. Since Cam Newton has been their quarterback, the Saints are just 5-7 against the Panthers.
And the problem is he's playing like the Cam Newton of old right now, which is not good news for the Saints. Head coach Ron Rivera almost outsmarted himself by keeping Cam in the pocket during the early part of the season. But as he's gotten healthier, Rivera's let Newton revert back to what he does best, using his legs to help set up that arm strength. There's a reason why the Panthers are on the Saints' heels right now. They've won their last 4 games, and what continues to drive them is what they can still achieve.
Guys in that locker room right now are chomping at the bit, just ready to prove, to ourselves as a team, like this is a defining moment for us as a team that we need.
The one thing the Panthers didn't get as good a look at in Week 3 as they expect to in Week 13, the Saints running game with Alvin Kamara getting multiple touches. Back in September, Kamara had to take a back seat to both Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson. Now it's the Ingram-Kamara show that's got the Panthers defense a bit on edge, knowing that game planning just for Drew Brees won't cut it.
Oh, you got to stop the run, man. These guys, I think they're averaging almost 150 yards, per game. They're taking a lot of pressure off their quarterback, and we all know he's one of the best at, throwing the ball. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. When you add their run game in the mix, it's like, man, you got to try to, shut them down.
The last time the Saints played the Panthers, they ran it more than they threw it, with Ingram and Peterson getting the bulk of the carries. The Saints ran up nearly 150 yards, a lot of success in Week 3.
Yeah, and as good as the Panthers are at stopping the run, makes you wonder if the Saints will take the same approach with Kamara and Ingram.
We shall see, because the Panthers have the 3rd best rushing defense in the NFL, allowing barely 83 yards per game. But I think you have to do what you've done best this season, what's gotten you to an 8-3 record, and that's having balance on offense, which begins for this team this season running the ball to set up the pass. So expect more of the same approach from the Saints on offense.
Make them prove that they can stop it. The Sheldon Rankins experiment at defensive end didn't work out well in L.A. Up next, what exactly went wrong? I break it down in my film breakdown.
The Sands Film Breakdown is sponsored by the 2017 Nissan Titan. From Fox 8 Sports, you're watching Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan, with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
All right, welcome back into Game Plan. Sean, I know you know that injuries to the defense have forced the Saints to tweak a few things this year. And a big storyline heading into last week was how would they adjust to life without Alex Okafor?
It's interesting, Juan. Against the Rams, they tried something I honestly did not see coming. They put Sheldon Rankins on the end. The results were not good, as I discovered in my film breakdown.
Sheldon Rankins at end is not a winning formula for this defense. At least it wasn't against the Rams. Simply put, he was a non-factor. Here he is in the first quarter in Cam Jordan's normal position. He was ineffective. Later in the first, he was there again and ran a stunt to the inside. Again, ineffective. Here he is in the second quarter. Same location, same result. Completely ineffective. Now let's contrast that with his snaps at his natural position as a 3-technique defensive tackle. Watch him on the Todd Gurley run. He eats up 2 blockers to allow his teammates to make the stuff. Here he is in the second quarter. He puts an elite spin move on the Rams guard and flushes Jared Goff out of the pocket. Later in the quarter, he knifes through to disrupt another Gurley run. A flag for holding should have been called.
This isn't complicated. Rankins is a defensive tackle, one of the best ones in the game. Playing him at end hurt double. He's ineffective playing there, and you missed the explosive pass rush he provides from the interior. I'd be shocked if the Saints used him there this week.
And we know having an effective Sheldon Rankins this week is key, with Cam Newton now looking to run the ball more than last time. The season's no longer a marathon. It's a 5-game sprint to the finish, and every game matters when it comes to winning the division and grabbing that playoff spot. 3 of the team's 5 games will be in the Dome. If you take care of business at home, they'll make the playoffs. But as tight as things are, and I told you how tight earlier, they may have to steal a win on the road as well. Something to watch for, how the Saints handle Carolina Sunday and Atlanta 4 days later. Here's Jim Henderson on what's still to come for the black and gold.
Well, the Saints made their run when both Atlanta and Tampa Bay and Carolina were all faltering, in particular Carolina and Atlanta. Now suddenly it's the Saints that seem to be faltering a bit, while Atlanta's coming on and Carolina's coming on. So you're right, this is about where everybody expected this NFC South would be, but they got here in different times and in different ways, and now you just got to regain the momentum because the other 2 teams have got theirs.
Saints hold all of the cards, win and they're in, and it begins with winning at home.
Keep on winning. Coming up, life without Marshon Lattimore is something Saints fans were reminded of last weekend. They didn't like it. We'll answer the many questions we received about his absence coming up.
From Fox 8 Sports, you're watching Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.
Newton, look out, hit and drop as Jordan came in untouched from the right side. Kamara gets the call right side. Kamara free inside the 20, running to the sideline, 15, 10, to the goal line. One official says touchdown. Newton well protected this time. Guns the ball over the middle. It's intercepted. Vaccaro fighting his way down to around the 35-yard line as Newton is intercepted for the third time today.
That was Jim Henderson on the call of the first Saints-Panthers meeting of 2017, and he'll be back with us to preview round 2 Sunday morning at 10 a.m. on Fox 8 Live Tailgate, and Sunday night at 10:30 to wrap it all up. Come Monday, you can catch Jim at 8 a.m., 5 p.m., and 10:35. All of that right here on Fox 8. Always nice to have with us Josh Katzenstein from NOLA.com, and the Times-Picayune covers the Saints on a weekly and it seems like daily, hourly basis with this team. It seems like this might have been a wake-up call, that Rams game, for this football team, maybe for the organization.
Yeah, I don't know about for the organization. I mean, it's one loss. Like, ultimately, you can't expect a team to go out and win, 9 games in a row. I mean, I picked the Bills to win that game just because I thought the Saints were due for a loss. And you go up against a good Rams team that, has playmakers all over the defense, a bunch on offense. And I think, they maybe got caught a little bit by surprise by how good Cooper Kupp was. He seemed to be torching them all day. And look, I mean, we knew they were going to be down in the secondary with Marshawn Lattimore and Ken Crawley out. And I think that's a game that sort of, you don't want to make excuses, but that's one that is easy to accept that you lost because of the opponent, because of the injuries. And I think that, now, though, it does put the Saints in a much tougher predicament as they look toward the end of the season with a bunch of divisional games coming up.
Yeah, and look, I think it's a quality football team. They played a quality football team. They'll play, 3 very good football teams from here on out. And that team roster-wise matched the Saints roster-wise. I'm not sure they faced a team like that up until L.A. And look what happened. Obviously, they were down a few players with some injuries. And as we said before, Drew Brees kind of alluded to this after the Buffalo game because everything came so easy to them that it only gets tougher. It only gets tougher. Well, they're here. It's getting tougher. And I think Sunday kind of illustrated that in L.A. And hopefully it kind of refocused these guys a little bit. Not that they weren't focused. I just think L.A. caught them at a good time. They were down. And like I said, it's just a good football team.
The number one question we've received this week on the Final Play app using the Final Word feature, will Marshawn Lattimore be okay? Is he that big of a factor in the wins and losses with this football team? It seems like he is.
Well, let's see. I got a text from my cousin. I got a text from my dad. I got the guy at Chick-fil-A in the Saints hat. He asked me how Marshawn Lattimore was doing. They all want to know about Marshawn Lattimore. He was limited in practice on Wednesday. We'll find out later in the week how close he is to playing. Yes, he makes that big of a difference. With Marshawn Lattimore back, I think the Saints win this game. Maybe not with ease, but I think they win this game handily. So he makes that much of a difference. He tilts the field. I think that is the one loss you cannot overcome. And when you try to overcome it with P.J. Williams and Devontae Harris, disaster usually happens. We saw it last week.
Well, one thing to note, they actually beat the Panthers without Marshawn Lattimore. He missed the first game because he had a concussion. And, yeah, he makes all the difference in the world. I mean, we can be nice and praise, all the different players on the defense, say Dennis Allen has been good, and he has. I mean, he's been aggressive at the right times and things like that. But when you have a cornerback that shuts down half the field or a key wide receiver on the other team, it makes all the difference in the world. It gives the pass rush more time to get home. It allows the linebackers to trust, what they're doing on every play. And frankly, Marshawn Lattimore, it's not just coverage. I mean, he might be the best tackler on the defense. I mean, he hasn't missed a tackle this year. Before he went out, he was leading the team in solo tackles. And I mean, he's just a great football player. I mean, we'll see if he can sustain it over the course of his career. You obviously can't put him in the Hall of Fame just yet. I think Sean Payton said that a few weeks ago. But I mean, when we look at why this defense has turned around, you have to start with Marshawn Lattimore, absolutely.
When you think back to Week 3 in the Carolina game up in Charlotte, there was a battered and bruised Carolina team, and even Cam was coming off the shoulder injury. They're trying to work his way back. How different is this team now when you look at their first injury report that came out on Wednesday? A bunch of their key players are on it again, and Cam's limited. So is this a different team now? I know they're playing better, won 4 in a row, but are they that different than Week 3?
Well, it's tough to say because if you look at, what they were doing coming into the first game, you would say that the Panthers looked like, one of the better teams. They were 2-1, but I think everyone sort of knew they were fraudulent at that time. But since then, Cam Newton has been running the ball more. Their offense has been much better. Frankly, since they, traded Kelvin Benjamin away. They've won 4 straight. They've been dominating the turnover battle. And I think we'll see if Greg Olsen plays. That'll be the biggest question. He left last Sunday's game with an injury. You know, I think it was either aggravating, you know, the foot that he had. So I don't know if they'll want to test him and push him in. But I think the other guys, you know, that are hurt, you know, should be okay. I think Devin Funchess, Thomas Davis, Christian McCaffrey. But regardless, I think, you know, this is a different team, but it's also a different Saints team. And I think the Saints used that win against Carolina to really catapult themselves to that winning streak. And really we'll just see. I mean, the winner of this game will clearly be the class of the division, and we'll see what happens.
Well, you said it. It's a different team. And my concern is it's December, and Carolina has been through this a few more times than the Saints have, at least in recent years. So they've finished out seasons. They kind of have elevated their game to this point of the year where they're able to finish out a year and get themselves into the playoffs. The Saints have not done that over the last 3 seasons. So I absolutely think this is a different Panthers team. It's a different set of circumstances. It's a different time of year. You play in September, you can afford a few mistakes. You play in December, everything's magnified. So absolutely, this is a much different Panthers team. They're playing better football, although Cam can be a little uneven. I know he wasn't great against the Jets, but still, you know the Saints have all the respect in the world for Cam Newton. And if you said it, if Greg Olsen plays, that's the one guy the Saints have just never been able to figure out. In all the years and all the tape they've studied on him, they can't figure him out.
The one thing Saints will be leaning on is Drew Brees, because he's the one guy that knows what it takes to win during this time of the year. When you think back to the last time at 5 games in December, it was 2013. They finished 2-3, fell down to the wild card spot. So what will it take for this team to finish December strong as opposed to puttering out? Because the other 2 teams behind them are all climbing.
Yeah, and they all got experience, as we just said. I think the Saints just, look, you have a stumble in L.A. You didn't play great against Washington, but you were able to finish that game out. If you can get healthy and get back to running the football and being dominant along the offensive line, I think you're set offensively. And defensively, just keep doing what you've been doing, which is, you know, rushing the passer. So hopefully you can overcome the Alex Okafor injury. And if you can get Marshawn Lattimore back, as we said, I think that puts this defense at ease to where you feel set going into the back half of the season.
It has to help that 3 of those 5 are at home.
Oh, absolutely, and the Saints have been great this season at home, and they've been good on the road too, but I think the key, you know, as the season wears on is they have to just keep relying on that running game. I do think Drew Brees needs to be better. I'm not going to sit here and, you know, say too much about it, because for the most part he's been great, but he wasn't very sharp against the Rams, and I think if he can, you know, play up to the level, you know, that he was, frankly, in terms of efficiency throughout the winning streak, I think this offense is just going to remain unstoppable, and I think, you know, it was just a lot of factors that led to the offense not being, you know, at its peak performance last week against the Rams. And if Brees can step his game up a little bit, keep feeding Ingram and Kamara, I think they'll be fine.
I've been saying it. You know, if you win your 3 games at home with these 5, you'll lock up a playoff spot. Whatever else happens in the division remains to be seen. May come to that last game in Tampa. That's kind of scary. Josh, thank you very much. We appreciate it. All right, still to come, it's crunch time in fantasy football as the playoffs loom large. Who can you trust and who is unreliable? Chris Hagan breaks it down to give you the extra point that you need.
Play to win! Turn it loose! Stay in the moment!
Keys to the Game is sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer. From Fox 8 Sports, you're watching Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty. Nissan Titan, take on any job.
We know Alvin Kamara is special, but did you know that he's accomplished a feat that hasn't been done in over 50 years? He is the first rookie since 1965 and just the 3rd ever to tally more than 500 yards from scrimmage and 6 touchdowns. Not only that, but he was one of only 2 players in the NFL this November to go over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. The other, teammate Mark Ingram. They'll certainly be key to any success the Saints have in December and beyond. The Saints may be fighting for the playoffs in January, but Sean, in fantasy football, leagues are already in the postseason.
I know, I'm in the playoffs. And Chris Hagan says this Sunday's Saints-Panthers matchup in the Dome will have a full slate of must-starts for your roster. It's all in this week's Extra Point.
Week 13 typically marks the last regular season matchups of the fantasy football season. Sometimes it even marks the playoffs, making it that much more important. Fortunately, it also means we've had 12 weeks to get a good picture of who's worth the start and who is not. Looking at the matchup in the Dome Sunday, the Panthers and Saints are full of players that could have a big day. For one, I like the matchup for both teams' running backs. Alvin Kamara, who should be the leader in the Offensive Rookie of the Year department, is a must-start. And even after a slow game last week, Mark Ingram is as well. He typically bounces back from bad games with a vengeance. For the Panthers, meanwhile, Christian McCaffrey is worth the start in PPR leagues. In their first matchup against the Black and Gold, Run CMC caught 9 passes for 101 yards. Carolina still hasn't figured out how to get him as involved as the Saints have Kamara, but especially without Kelvin Benjamin, he's become more of a frequently used target. At receiver, Michael Thomas should be in for another good outing as well. He's certainly due a big day since he hasn't found the end zone since Week 4 against the Dolphins, and his only other touchdown this season came against Carolina in Week 3. That said, I'm not too high on any of the Panthers receivers, especially if Marshon Lattimore and Ken Crawley are healthy again for the Saints. But if you have to play one, Devin Funchess is the guy. He's had 17 receptions and 2 touchdowns in his last 3 games with more than 85 yards in each. Quarterback is where it's a little more interesting. Cam Newton's first outing against the Saints was a dreadful one. His 3 interceptions were the most he's thrown this season. On top of that, despite 4 straight Panthers wins, in the last 3, he's only thrown touchdown passes in 1 of those games. Newton's become a bit dependent on rushing touchdowns, and that's a dangerous way to live against the Saints defense. If you have another option at quarterback, I'd go with them over Newton in the Dome. From Drew Brees, however, I expect a solid bounce-back game. Ideally, they aren't playing from behind late and able to take advantage of the play-action pass. But either way, one thing Brees has always done for fantasy owners this year is give them some late, almost garbage time scoring. An improbable touchdown run against Buffalo saved him from a scoreless day, just like his late touchdown pass to Kamara against the Rams. His numbers aren't as big as they've been in the past, but the matchup works in his favor this week. Reporting for Game Plan, I'm Chris Hagan.
Our coverage certainly doesn't stop here. Lots more on Fox 8 News Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday, despite the afternoon kickoff, we'll still have tailgate for you because we love it that much. 10 a.m. Make sure you're there. Scout out the Falcons as they host the Vikings at noon.
Huge game.
And that game leads us right into the Panthers and Saints. 3:25 right in the Dome. Our wrap-up reports begin on Fox 8 News at 9, leading up to the final play at 10:30.
And be sure to tune in for Fox 8 Football Friday at 10:35 as Chris Hagan and I take you around the state for all the great prep action here in Louisiana. Until then, thank you for watching Game Plan. Thanks to everyone at Fox 8 for their contributions. Our next newscast is at 4:30 in the morning. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
From Fox 8 Sports, this has been Game Plan. Sponsored by your Southern Quality Ford dealer, built Ford tough. And the 2017 Nissan Titan with America's best bumper-to-bumper limited truck warranty, Nissan Titan. Take on any job.